Welcome to our quick and easy granny square tutorial. In this tutorial you will learn how to work in the round, how to change color, how to double crochet, and how to slip stitch. Granny squares are a perfect beginner project, and they have a lot of history. No one really knows when granny squares first emerged on the crocheting scene, but we know that they were used hundreds of years ago in rugs and tapestries and as a way to not be wasteful. So that's the beauty of the granny square. Dye lots don't have to match. The yarn weight probably should match, but you have a lot of flexibility. In this tutorial, we're using a large J10 size 6mm hook. We're using Mary Maxim's Starlet worsted weight yarn, and we've chosen to stick with just a small color palette. We like using the brights. That's one thing that's very common in granny squares. If you notice, a lot of traditional granny squares have very bright colorful centers and dark, specifically black outer edges. Check out these other bright colors in Mary Maxim's Starlet. Begin with the slip knot. And as always, make sure your yarn can move up and down your hook freely. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So notice when you chain 5, it looks like there's only 4 chains in the yarn. And then you're going to join with a slip stitch. This circle is where you're going to start your first round of stitches. Chain 3 for your first double crochet. So this counts as a double crochet, and then you're going to double crochet 2 more times. 1, 2. If you'd like to see a tutorial on our double crochet, make sure to visit the link in the description. And there's a step-by-step guide on how to double crochet. So here you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then do the next set of double crochet. Granny squares are squares. So that means each side has to have the same type of stitch, and there's 4 sides. So you're going to do this 4 times in the circle. Now you can do a smaller circle, and you can use a smaller hook, and you can really make these your own, but we are making this video for those who haven't tried granny squares before, so we're using a larger size hook than we normally would. A lot of people are very comfortable using a size I 5.5mm hook. So far, this is what we've done. We did a chain 5, and then we joined with a slip stitch. Then we chained up 3, and that counts as our first double crochet. Then we double crocheted 2 more times. We chained 2, and then double crocheted 3 times. We chained 2, double crochet 3 times, chain 2, and double crochet 3 times. So now we have 4 even sides. To join, we're going to chain 2. And if you don't want to change colors, if you want to keep the same colors, you're going to do a slip stitch and pull through here. We, however, are going to change colors. Oh, I think I pulled out a stitch. So we want to make sure we have those 2 chains there. We're going to grab our next color. Which is our pink. And when we go and insert to join, instead of joining with green, we're going to join with this pink. So now if this is all loose, a lot of people get nervous when these are loose. When you go to weave in your ends, these will tighten right up. So here, to begin our next row, we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to work into this space here. So we're going to yarn over and double crochet 2 more times because our first chain 3 counted as a double crochet. And so this is essentially 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 2 and double crochet into this chain space. I'm going to do that 3 times. And this is where the shape of the granny really takes off. So we know these are our sides, and we're working into this chain space. To make it square, we're going to need to do 2 sets of these double crochets into that same chain space. So you chain 3 and you work again in that same chain space. So now we have our first corner. We're going to chain 2 and work into the next chain space. We're going to chain 2 and work into this same chain space. Chain 2, work into the next chain space. Chain 2 and work into the same chain space. Okay, we're going to chain 2 and let's make sure this is nice and tight, and we're going to work into this chain space here. One, 2, okay, we're gonna tighten that up again. We're gonna chain 2 and do our slip stitch. We're gonna change colors here. We've got our blue. So instead of yarning over and pulling through pink, we're just going to simply yarn over and pull through blue. Okay, we're going to chain 3 and again work into this chain space here. So let's go over what we did. We did 5 chains, we joined, and then we chained up. So this is our chain up. We did 2 double crochets, we chained 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. So that made our first round. In our second round, we have 2 double crochets in each chain space. Okay, so now we've got this extra chain space here and this one here. These are the only ones on the corner, are the only ones that are going to get 2 sets of double crochets in the same chain space. So we're going to move these out of the way. Bring out our blue, which is our next color. Make sure that that's free and easy to work with. Okay, so again, we're working into this chain space. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the chain space, double crochet, double crochet. So if you have a question about why there's only one set of double crochet here, it's because by the time we get around, we want our last stitch in this round to be the join, where we're joining here. That makes it even and symmetrical. So now we're going to chain 2 and do 3 double crochets into the next chain space. Remember that the center chain spaces only get 1 set of double crochets. Chain 2, and this is another corner. So this is going to get 2 sets of double crochets. I'm going to stop a second, and do you see how my hook caught here? So my hook caught on this and it kind of looked like a snag. So if you see those in the end or when you're done, go back and tug on the yarn a bit. It bounces right back. So we're going to finish our 3rd double crochet in this cluster or this set, and then we're going to do a second one. 1, 2, 3. We're going to chain 2, and again, only 1 set of double crochets goes into the side chain space. So again, just a little tugging, and it goes right back. So at this point, we're going to chain 2 and do your 3 double crochets into the next chain space. This is a corner. So we're going to chain 2 and do another set of 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 2 into this side space. One, 2, 3. We're going to chain 2, and this is a corner piece. A little tug on that one. One, two, three. We're going to chain two. One, two, three. We're going to chain two, and we've got our last side double crochet here. Remember, this corner only has one cluster of double crochets in it. So we're going to work into this chain space here. We're going to do 3 double crochets. One, ooh, see, we caught a chain and we wanted the space. So don't be afraid to pull it out and retry it if you miss your mark. 1, 2, and 3. To make this even, we're going to chain 2 and join with the slip stitch. Now, where exactly are you joining, you may have asked. We're joining in the last chain of that first double crochet chain. Okay, so let's take a look at that. On our granny squares, we're here. We've done this round here. We're just gonna move over to the gray. So we're gonna change color now, but that's going to be our final color. If these colors are getting to be a little bit much, go ahead after you've inspected to make sure that all your chains are in the right place, all your double crochets are in the right place. After you do your inspection, go ahead and snip these colors. I'm going to take our gray. We're going to back out a little bit here because we're looking to join with the gray and not the blue. I like to join if I'm trying to get my color situated. I like to do the join and then I'll take it out. I do that because I'm always afraid of losing stitches and not knowing where I'm at. So we take our gray and we join with the gray instead of the blue. Make sure that's taut. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and work into that corner chain space. So we're going to do 2 double crochets. 1, 2, chain 2 into that side space. So now we're going to continue in this manner and skip ahead towards the end. You've already done a few rounds, so you should be able to get the general idea here. Okay, so we've completed this round, but we're not changing color. So we're just going to chain 3 and work into that chain space and continue in the same manner. Okay, so we're on our last step of part 1. So we have to do our 3 double crochets into the last corner chain space. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and join in the 3rd chain. Okay, so at this point we have a pretty nice granny square tutorial. In part 2 of this super quick and easy granny square tutorial, we're going to show you how to single crochet around the edge. We're going to show you how to block if you need blocking. Some don't need blocking. And then we're going to show you how to seam them together. Thank you for joining us, and make sure that you hit that subscribe button and follow us on our other social media profiles. You can purchase Starlet Yarn at marymaxim.com or marymaxim.ca. Stay tuned, we have loads of wonderful tutorials coming your way.